Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Let's do a real complete behind the scenes look at the fish room. Let's walk on down. We're up in the kitchen area. This is what keeps me going, the coffee station. All right, let's go downstairs and into the fish room. The first thing I have to do is I have to walk by the gauntlet here. This is the landing where we keep the dogs. Normally you see Jackson, but this is Lucy. Hey, Lucy. She's about 14 years old, which is pretty old for a beagle. And Jackson goes out and plays, and Lucy just kind of hangs out. And I let them in the fish room, but sometimes I don't want them in the fish room, so I have a gate here. And my view from up here, these are the two 55-gallon tanks. The fridge where I keep my frozen food, and some meds and things on the top, test strips. And there's the 29-gallon, the Betta Tank, and the 90-gallon South American, Central American, and the little planted tank right next to it. But let's go downstairs and look at all of this. This is my live stream editing area, and of course the 210-gallon is right there. Why do I have a can of paint there? That helps to stabilize the tripod so it stays nice and steady. Here's the sink where I do all my work. Here's some caves from underwater galleries, some filters. These are some braces I'm going to be putting on the back of the sump to hold the plumbing in place more securely. There's some lights from JC&P. There's some lights here from JC&P and from, I believe, from Higer and from Aqua. Some of these are going to be going into the 300-gallon project. This is some CO2 equipment I have in here. CO2 equipment that's going to be for the planted tank. Little CO2 cylinders and things like that were sent to me by my friends over at JC&P. CO2. I have a Sun 704B down here. That might be getting used in with the 300-gallon. And back here I have a light that I use to light underneath the stand for the 210-gallon. And here's the controller that I use. It's from a company called Gemco. Keeping the tank right around. If the tank hits 80, it shuts off the power to the heaters. I have two heaters in this tank. I'll show them to you. These are some of the controls for the lights. There's 3 sets of lights on this tank. See them up here. 3 strips. Allows me to kind of play around with how I like things lit. This right here is the return for the fluval, and this is the intake of the fluval. You can see they go down here to a cutout that I made in the back of the tank. I had to cut out the back of the tank. It came with a solid back. This is the alarm for the fluval FX6. This will sound an alarm if there's any fluid, or any liquid rather, detected on where the canister is. And this is the control for this power head up here. This is that 3,500-gallon an hour power head, and it helps to keep the tank clean because it kicks up all the detritus, and then that detritus works its way over to the filters. Even though they were just fed, they think they're going to be fed again, of course. Turning over this way, you then have the 55-gallon that is currently divided. I had to have plugs put in, like these here were put in, and I'm having more plugs put in, and I'm increasing the amperage by having more circuits put in. Otherwise, I can flip fuses. That's never good. Here's a high door. I think that's probably around 2,000 gallons per hour. That's a lot for a 55-gallon. I'll probably end up moving that over. If you follow my channel, you know that I have the OB currently in isolation because he was being a bad boy. And I'm using one of these dividers, these cool dividers that are from Life with Pets. They have holes so they allow circulation. And then I have that big blue Vieja Zonatus in here. I'm going to be reintroducing him with the South Americans when I set up the 300 gallon. He has taken the area between the heater, that big Eheim heater, that Zumed Mopani wood, and this little underwater galleries cave. He's taken that area and he's created this crater, this sunken area back there where he hangs out. This tank is lit by a Beamswork light, LED full spectrum, and it has has one of these Expert Matic filters and a Marineland. This is one of those Marineland bio wheels. I get great results with these filters. So this is a pretty heavily filtered and circulated tank. When you look at what's in it, and it has that big Eheim heater, which is on a controller by TrueTemp. These TrueTemp controllers shut off at 80 degrees, so they don't let the heaters overheat. Anyway, they do a great job. They don't let the heater overheat the tanks. It's a sign I got from my son. I listed it at my Amazon store if you want to pick one up. This is the 55, right next to the one I just showed you. We've got this 55 gallon here, which is a South American. And what I've got in here is I've got these beautiful red spotted gold severums, 2 of them. And I have a bunch of these dwarf rainbow fish I picked up from a local breeder named Tiffany. Really pretty little fish, very active. Seem to get along fine with everybody else. And then I have these Redhead Tapahost Geophagus. I love the way they're constantly sifting the sand, turning things over, creating little pits. These are really peaceful compared to the Surimanensis. But I've got 2 chocolate cichlids. These are from Mexico, so maybe you'd call them Central American. 2 of them. Beautiful fish. Love their temperament. Love their look. They can go dark purple sometimes. And then, of course, the redhead. 2 of those redhead Tapahosts. A couple electric blue Ochart. You can see one of them back there. The other one's over here hanging out. Very hardy, real good eaters. It's a little green tear here. This was the dominant green tear of the batch that I got, growing nicely. There's some of those underwater gallery caves in here. 2 Expert Matic filters. Some plants from the company that's no longer in business, Elite Cichlids. I think I got everybody in here. These stands I picked up and I assembled them from Walmart. They're very inexpensive, made specifically for a 55 gallon tank with this kind of a footprint. Zonatus. Beautiful fish. This is my sink area where I keep buckets, hoses, spare equipment. All kinds of knickknacks. Dog leashes. And then I got a full fridge with a bunch of stuff on it. A bunch of stickers I picked up, mostly from the aquarium co-op. Then back here, I have what used to be a holding tank, which is now turned into a planted tank. It's got one of those Expert-Matic filters. It's got one of those cobalt, real flat heaters back there. You can see the assortment of fish I have in there. I have some of these green laser cories, some cardinals, some rummy nose, some lemon tetras, some serpa, red serpa. There's some little ember tetras, little teeny guys there are ember tetras. There's even, I can find him, there's even a green terror in here. Here he is. He was having a hard time competing with the other green terror. So I brought him in here, and he's been doing great. He was having trouble getting to food because the other one was so overpowering. So I put him in with the community tank. He doesn't bother anybody. Seems to be getting along okay. I've got some real wood in here. Nice piece of wood I picked up over at the Aquatic Critter. And it's got a little bit of Anubias shoved into it down here at the bottom. And then these are just some Amazon swords. Next to them, of course, we have the Betta. I think I might be leaving him in this setup. Top fin 5-gallon. The top fin 5-gallon tank. He seems to like it in here. Very low flow. Has a little flat heater on the side. Underwater galleries cave. There's one of those almond leaves. Tends to condition the water in a way the fish like. A lot of low flow in this tank, so it's good for a betta. You don't want to have a lot of water current moving around. I've been feeding him some of these betta bites I picked up at Aquashella. Seems to like them. They're made by Fluval. These guys here, the little guys, get these little teeny micro New Life Spectrum small fish formula. These are really teeny little pellets. And sometimes I'll throw in some of these shrimp pellets. This is for the cories, even though all the fish seem to compete for it. Here's a sump, a trickle system sump that I'm going to be setting up. It's got an overflow box. It's made by Aesop, and it's got an overflow box in there. Above the tanks I have storage. You can see here all the different knickknacks and stuff that I have. Pinky floss and filters and pumps and all kinds of stuff that I keep in here. Up there, there's some, that's a Fluval filter kit right there. I've got more stuff over here. Might start making my own brine shrimp. Pick that up from the aquarium co-op. Got some additional filters for the marine land. And these are Aqua lithium battery backups. I'm going to plug those in because they're charged now, but I think you got to charge them from time to time. But in the event of a power outage, they can run for a couple of days. And I've got other stuff up here, heaters and plugs and all kinds of stuff you see, and kind of stuff you'd see normally with a fish keeper. Just a bunch of storage. But the air supply for this 29-gallon is one of those Cobalt Rescue Air, and that'll go 48 hours if there's a power outage. I have one of those also on the planted tank. I'll show you. Hey, buddy. It's looking good. This is the little planted tank project that I went through all the craziness with. Right now it's got a couple, they're cherry barbs. Got 2 cherry barbs in there and a big snail named Gary, a big mystery snail, who's been a mystery recently. I haven't seen him in about 2 days. I hope he's okay. But you can see all the plants in there. They seem to be doing well. And the cherry barbs are doing fine. Here's some additional lighting when I need it. Softbox lighting. Here's some heat. When it gets really cold outside, I got to fire this thing up. It's about 1,000 watts. Really works well. This is the stand for the 300-gallon, 7 feet across, just a monster. It's going to be delivered the 16th of April. I've got 6 people lined up to help me bring it in. Right now it's just holding a bunch of stuff. It's got a pad. All of the tanks that come from glass cages come with a pad, a leveling pad that goes onto it. So we'll hover the tank above and then slip the pad underneath and drop the tank onto the stand. Because if you put the stand on top of the pad and push it, you just crunch up the pad. Here's a little 10-gallon, or I'm sorry, a little 5-gallon emergency tank and a 29-gallon back there that's currently holding some tubing, some hosing, and my bicycle helmet. Here's some more lighting, more softbox lighting. And this is something I'm going to be doing a review on, hopefully by next week. This is that all-power, the all-power S300. And this thing supposedly is a great backup. You could run all my air pumps and all my tanks in the event of a power outage. I just did an interview with Sarah, with Frank and Klaus at Sarah. That's Klaus. I'm doing the editing on it. We talked about all of these Sarah products, and you can see some of them here. They make really high quality stuff. This is some filter media and a whole bunch of food packets. Probably give some of these away at the Saturday live stream. Look at all this. You'll hear me talking about their stuff in the upcoming interview. Very high quality food. We did it on a Zoom call, so I'm not really sure. The video quality is going to be okay. Zoom calls are, they use the computer camera. They make a lot more than just food, huh? They use the computer camera, so they're not always the best. But I'll do the editing, and then I'll get it out to you guys right away. And the camera setup. So this is the 210-gallon. And I've got there's a fluval under there, FX6, and I keep it inside of a Rubbermaid container with a water sensor. You saw the water sensor back here. It's a little water dog or whatever it's called, watchdog, water alarm. And that water sensor just picks up if there's any moisture in this container. So I have really an advanced warning if there's ever a leak, but I've never had a leak, at least not recently. I replaced the seals. I've replaced a couple of the valves on that fluval. Then on this side, I mean, if you're familiar with the channel, you know. On this side, I have the DIY sump. just hand holding this. You're going to see some bumpiness when you're hand holding a camera, walking around trying to get between all this stuff. But over here you can see I've got the heaters are on these external controllers. It's a 6-foot across tank, looks pretty deep. Imagine another foot there with that 7-footer. But this is the these are the controllers. I have a 1,000 watt in the Sump, 1,000 watt titanium, and then I have an 800 watt. This is from Aqua, 800 watt. And then there's a Aqua, I think it's marketed under the name Higer, 1,000 watt inside the Sump. And then over here you can see the plumbing. Had to cut out the back of that. And it's got three down pipes. It's what's called a Herbie sump, a Herbie overflow box. Very quiet. Got some what are called, these are unions that allow me to disconnect all 3 of the pipes and do a cleaning, which I'm probably due for. You can see the return. The return's pretty brown now. The return has a one-way valve, so when the pump is off, water can't siphon back from the tank. And this is an adjustment, gate valve. It's a gate valve adjustment right here. All that was put together by me, cutting the pipes, gluing them together. And I think I didn't show you I didn't spend any time on the 90. Let's go over to the 90. It's a little tight in here. It's a 90 gallon. And again, if you're familiar with the channel, you know this tank. And these are the fish that are going to go, well, the more aggressive fish in this tank are going to go over to the 300. That's the plan for now, even though James Largo wants me to use the 300 for African cichlids. He's afraid that the Malawi trout is going to be too big for that 210. But I've got some, like this Jack Dempsey back here, and this Nicaragua will go to the 300. So will this guy here. More aggressive fish. The Vieja back here will go to the 300. She's a beauty. But the Geophagus are going to stay in the 90. AC Heckelei will stay in the 90. And then I'll bring over to the 90, I'll probably bring over the electric blue Cara, Chocolates, Redhead Tapahost. So I'll let the green terrace put on more size before they move. So this tank will be a little bit more peaceful. The 300 will have the more aggressive fish in it. I have a big air stone here. One of those big discs. I have to put it at an angle because the Geos and the Viejas, they were covering it up. And then when they cover it up, it wouldn't, it would block the bubbles. So I have to have it at a little bit of an angle. You can see I've got I think that's a 500 watt. I think that's from Higer. And there's some elite cichlid plants, some caves from underwater galleries. And I have a lot of that Mopani wood in here, like that wood right there, that piece right there. That's Mopani wood from ZoomEd. You see the cave that got built? One of the fish built that cave. These were laying flat on the sand, and now the big vieja hangs out underneath that piece of Mopani wood. He made a cave for himself. This is a piece of wood I picked up from Aquatic Critter. It's on a piece of slate. And I picked up those rocks from Aquatic Critter. Looks like they need to be cleaned off a little bit. And of course, these are all elite cichlid plants. It's right next to the planted project. Well, that was truly the most complete behind-the-scenes look at my fish room I think I've done. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you'd like to help on this project, consider becoming a Patreon member and supporting the channel that way. That's very appreciated when you do that. And also consider hitting that the sub and the bell and the thumbs up if you haven't already done so. That tells YouTube something good is going on here. So that's it for me, folks. I really appreciate you tuning in, and stay tuned, because this is definitely a work in progress, and there's never a dull moment in here. But thank you, my friends. I appreciate you tuning in, and let's end off with just a quick look at my buddies here, and I'll see you next time. Saturday, cichlids and coffee. We'll talk some more about this. 11 a.m. Central, and that's noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. Okay, hope to see you then. Bye-bye. Hey, Jackson. What's up, buddy? Go back to sleep.